I love this so much. I love this so much. A couple weeks ago, I did a longer video about an article in the Atlantic. Some guy, some British guy, his last name was Murray. He went on Joe Rogan's show and said to his face, "Is it really a good idea for you to have all of these people come on your show basically saying, I don't know what I'm going to I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to talk about it anyway." And then they talk about it anyway. And he just kind of ripped Rogan up one side and down the other. And accompanying Joe Rogan on that episode was his little helper, a guy named Dave Smith. And Mr. Murray called out Dave Smith to his face on several specific issues and was like, "You don't have the slightest idea what the fuck you're talking about, dude." Hang on. I thought, I knew it was coming. Excuse me. I'm just reading some news stuff today, and I come across the greatest headline in that context. Mini dictators, quote unquote. Comic Dave Smith says COVID lockdown governors should be on trial at The Hague. Comic Dave Smith, who has never held elected office, has never run anything, has never served as a governor, has no medical degree, has no science degree, has no background in, I don't know, viruses or vaccines or public health or how to manage a pandemic, a global pandemic. Comic Dave Smith, proving once again that Mr. Murray was completely right when he said, "Is it really wise for you, Joe Rogan, to have people on your show who don't know what the fuck they're talking about and then let them talk about that exact thing?" I was so happy when I found this today. Comedian Dave Smith said governors who imposed pandemic lockdowns should face trial at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Speaking on the Jesus Christ on a pogo stick, I can't believe this is a real thing. Speaking on the Keeping It Real podcast with Jillian Michaels. Wow, they'll really just give anybody a podcast these days, including me. Dave Smith criticized state leaders for issuing emergency orders during the pandemic that restricted religious gatherings and other activities. Gosh, when there's COVID and there are religious gatherings, what do most churches have in common? That's right, they're indoors. Yeah, they're indoors. During COVID, even by cranks, it was generally accepted that large gatherings of people in closed spaces was that's right, it was a bad idea. Yeah, it was a bad idea. So now we've got dipshit Dave here talking about this. All the lockdown governors are just, should be in The Hague. Like, I don't care. I don't care if there was a vote. You don't get to, appoint yourself mini dictators out of nowhere based off no authority, not even citing any authority. They're governors, you potato. I declared an emergency. So what? Like the Constitution and the Bill of Rights don't exist anymore because you declared? Boy, howdy, there's a lot to unpack there. Because what has Donald Trump done on multiple occasions since taking office on January 20th of this year? He has declared multiple emergencies. He declared a border emergency. He declared an economic emergency. Those underpin his, the border emergency was serving to uphold his invocation of the Alien Enemies Act. Illegal. He has declared an economic emergency, which has allowed Doge to do its whole thing. That's illegal. It allowed him to do his tariffs thing. That's illegal. That power rests with Congress. So these are the kinds of dipshits who are coming out here and saying, I'm an expert on the Constitution. I'm an expert on the Bill of Rights. I'm an expert on state governments and how to govern states. I'm an expert on health policy. I'm an expert on COVID, on vaccines, on viruses, and how to manage a pandemic. Let's go back to that headline. Comic Dave Smith. Comic. He apparently is also an expert on criminal law and international criminal law and emergencies as that relates to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. It will shock you, I say, with a name like Dave Smith, to learn that he's a white guy. And somebody was like, hey man, there was a meeting that took place somewhere, and the boss is like, I need ideas. I need big, bold ideas. And somebody's sitting there like, fuck, I'm going to get fired. And then his buddy next to him elbows him and he goes like, watch this, man. Watch what I'm going to do. Watch this. No, watch this. It's going to be fucking hilarious. I swear to God. Watch this. This is going to be the funniest thing you've ever seen. And the boss is like, ideas. I need ideas. And that guy's like, hey, why don't we give comic Dave Smith a podcast? No, he doesn't know a fucking thing about anything, but who gives a shit? He's a white guy and he knows Joe Rogan. I mean, what could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong if we give dipshit Dave Smith a fucking podcast? Dave, what are your thoughts on COVID and governance of states? Dave, being a comic, I'm just going to assume that you are an expert in criminal law and international criminal law, as well as the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, emergencies, and how to manage things like global health crises, and, I don't know, fucking global shipping. What are your thoughts on supply chains, Dave? Oh my God. Oh my God. And let's not forget who was conducting this hard-hitting interview. It was the Keeping It Real podcast with Jillian Michaels. She became famous for screaming at fat people for 3 hours a week on NBC. That's exactly right. We should find out what she thinks about COVID too. Yeah, and supply chains and governors and the Constitution. Yes. I mean, could there possibly be a more hard-hitting and more relevant conversation about COVID than the conversation that would take place between comic Dave Smith and Jillian Michaels? We're being held hostage by people with room temperature IQs.